Hello, Mark.
Hello, Nikki and Transport Evolved. How are you all?
We're very well, and this is an episode of Quick Charge, which we haven't done for some time.
We haven't. We haven't had access to many cars, but we got a new car today.
It's not a car, Mark.
Well, it's a toy car. It's a van.
Yes.
It's the new Renault Kangoo 2013 model, which makes it
Kangoo ZE, if you please.
The Kangoo ZE, sorry, yeah.
And this is the short wheelbase version as opposed to the long wheelbase version.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I would see as a man in a white van.
Although it's not quite it's not quite as big as your white van Ford Transit. It's sort of the same size as the Ford Connect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the Vauxhall Corsa van. The next size up from the Vauxhall Corsa van. And it's designed to carry small loads. It'd be good for sole traders.
Yeah, taking stuff to markets and things like that.
Yeah,
that would make sense to me.
Now you've just sat behind the wheel, so give us your initial thoughts.
First time behind the wheel. The pulling away. There's no creep function. This is actually, for me, the first electric car I've ever been in that doesn't have creep. Mm-hmm. So every electric car I've been in has that fake engine.
Apart from the Twizy.
Apart from the Twizy. And it's really good. I think I prefer it. It seems a lot more intuitive in my head. And the other thing that really strikes me is, and I know people said it about the original one, actually, so there's no one behind me, is really quite aggressive regen when you come off the pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the man who dropped it off pretty much went, yeah, you can do 1 foot driving with this, which is very, very cool. But
now, it has this one, I mean, it's configurable in lots of different options. Now, this one's got this partition wall, but you can get a steel bulkhead here.
Okay.
And you can see in the back, that's the cargo area in the back. The short wheelbase version obviously doesn't have quite as much space as the long wheelbase version. The long wheelbase version is the crew, what they call the crew. Or you can get a long wheelbase version called the crew, which has another row of seats.
Okay.
And you can choose to have windows all the way through, or panel van. But this is kind of the standard panel van version, isn't it?
Yes. It's very sparse, having come to expect EVs to have all the gadgets and wizardry.
Yeah.
It's very, very sparse. It's just got a nice big gear stick, a nice big parking brake, handbrake, and not really any digital display. There's a bit that shows me the car, the van,
while you're,
and then there's a bit saying how far I've driven in total, 1.8 miles,
okay.
And that's it. And everything else is analog. But this is, I think, what a basic spec electric car would be. I think I quite like an electric car that didn't have all the gadgets. It just told me how far I could go.
You've got an eco button down here.
Ooh. Haven't used that yet. Let's put that on.
I don't know what's going to happen with that, but this is your parking brake.
Yeah.
And you've got your gear selector here. Bluetooth radio, 2 speakers. No speakers needed for the back because your luggage doesn't need to.
Excuse me.
Need to have a sound system.
It's got a heater. So we've got a lovely heater, which I don't have switched on at the moment because I'm actually quite warm. But there is, interestingly, while I was looking around the van, there's a, at the back, there is what I would call a petrol flap. So It's got the charging port at the front, but there's a petrol flap at the back, which I presume, and I believe, is for a petrol-powered heating system.
I think it might just be a remnant of the original petrol version of this van.
The man who delivered it said it was a heating system, and I got very, very excited because that's one way I could see electric cars being much better in the winter is having much better heating systems.
Or any fuel, any liquid fuel, really.
Yeah, if you're going to burn liquid fuel, you might as well use it for energy, for heat, which is probably its most energy efficient use.
Yeah. I suspect there's probably a place for this at some point, because there's like this something missing here. So I wonder if you can actually add a telematics system, maybe. I think you can, but we haven't checked the spec list yet because we've just got the thing. So
it did just turn up on my driveway and we've jumped in. It's a bit wobbly driving along, I will say. I feel like I'm bouncing about a bit, but I come to expect that in a van, because I imagine a van is, when it's weighted and all its suspension sorted, it would make sense to figure all that out as if you had a load in it. Whereas
I'm sorry, there's horses on this roundabout.
There are, yes. We've got some people living on this roundabout here.
Which is bizarre.
Yes.
Really.
Scrap metal wanted. Should we drop the car off?
That's insulting.
No, not this car. There are plenty of petrol cars on my street. We could take them.
Now I'm feeling quite a lot of body roll here, going through. Whoa! Around this corner. Is this the take back for the Tesla?
Yeah. That was in Eco as well. Let's turn it off. The Eco button, yeah, it remaps the accelerator.
Right. So just like most EVs, then basically.
But it's a very. I think, as I said, it's quite bouncy.
Yep.
As it goes, but maybe when you've got a big load in the back, it would weigh it down a little bit.
All right then. Should we switch over?
We should switch over. We should
and
go
see
find
what we
somewhere.
think.
I think from initial impressions, if I could get a car that had the basicness of this van, I think I'd be quite happy.
Well, the Kangoo, of course. Woo!
Ooh.
That was some wheel spin
That
there.
was a little bit of wheel spin, yes.
From Mark. I think because the crew version. I mean, I've said this in the past. If they made the crew version of this with a Chameleon onboard charger, a 43 kilowatt Chameleon charger,
yeah.
I reckon it'd be the ideal family car. Were it not for the fact that you have to rent the batteries, which is not so great.
Yes.
But you know, let's see what we can come up with.
But I'm going to enjoy having some time with this, I believe.
Woohoo!
I'm going to do my Christmas shopping. I can fit enough Christmas shopping in the back there.
Okay, take a video.
Yes.
Say goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye.